I read Fourth Wing. I did it. I caved. Everyone was talking about it and I couldn't stand the FOMO anymore, and it was too exhausting trying to avoid the spoilers, so I read it, and it was good. But as always, I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's roll that intro first. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Neverland Book Club. I read 11 books in June. I know it's the end of July and you're probably not going to see this till August, to be honest, but in June, all the way back then, I read 11 books. Clearly trying to make up for May's low numbers while simultaneously avoiding responsibilities. Since my work in progress is still in the hands of my beta readers and I am waiting patiently on bated breath for their feedback, I've been trying my best to distract myself with my vice of choice. Books. Smut, to be specific. I read 4 smutty books in the month of June. I've read more since. And they were all from the same series, but we'll get to that. Anyway, in June, I found what I would consider best book of the year and worst book of the year. Let's start with the good. I either have a video already out on this alone, in that case go watch that, or it's coming next week, so stay tuned. If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I speak in depth about my reading experience with this novel in my full review, so I won't reiterate too much here, but bottom line, this was a love letter to those who grew up infatuated with Shakespeare and the poetic nature of theater. The rawness of friendship, the appreciation of archetypal characters, and the dynamics they play around one another to tell a profound story that makes you feel closer to your eternal self than normal. A story of friendship, love, betrayal, murder, and amends. It has everything you'd likely find in a Shakespearean play in a more modern setting told in an old style. A quick summary: a troupe of aspiring young actors immersed in a specialized Shakespearean college program gradually find themselves embodying the very characters they portray on stage. This sets in motion a chain of events that exceeds their capacity to conceal their own truths, facing the villains within themselves. This was easily a 5-star read and perhaps one of the best books I've ever read. Ever, so far. Again, I go more in detail of why I feel that way in the full review, so be sure to go watch that if you're interested. I recommend this to anyone who identifies as a Shakespearean fan, especially if you've been in theater. As a former theater kid myself, there's a special camaraderie you find with fellow stage performers, and reading this story made me feel the thrill of standing at the wings, just waiting for your cue. It's just such a rush. All right, next we have Fourth Wing. Oh, can you hurry? It's hot. We're waiting for Pablo's joke.
Okay, Calculon.
Well, I do owe you for giving me this unholy acting talent.
All right, next we have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This one took me a while to get into. It felt like an attempt at combining Priory of the Orange Tree and the Poppy Wars. It has similar themes to both and tried to make up for what some say the other stories were lacking. In Priory, the common complaint is not enough dragons. And this was just full of them to the brim. In Poppy Wars, the complaint was not enough romance. We want more enemies to lovers. This delivered on that front quite well. Our main character is also one of those female MCs that doesn't fall into the current common mistake we see in movies and series lately where they lack flaws. We, as readers, need the MC to be somewhat relatable, and I feel Violet Sorrengail played that part well. She was flawed, she was weak sometimes, though capable of overcoming her shortcomings. Pun intended, because she was short, which I liked. Oh, how are you gonna get on a dragon if you're so short? Yeah, I can do it. Then personally, because I'm a shorty, so yeah. How, you ask? By being clever, fast, and unbreakable. The Basgiath War College was reminiscent of the Poppy Wars, introducing a dynamic of characters and hierarchies that are detrimental to the MC's rise with both her inner and outer conflicts. I love stories like this, stories that take the fundamentals seriously and applies them in such a way that is unique, although redundant. Because we know she's going to survive. We know she's going to thrive. When she does the impossible, it's not just expected, but believable. And I think that's a precarious thing to balance when writing a fantasy novel such as this. The stakes are not only high for our main character, but for her surroundings as well. The whole novel never lets up. It's a constant ride from start to finish, and there are so many dragons and griffins and characters, there's never a dull moment. I give this 4.5 stars. Not quite 5, because, well, it didn't make me feel what I felt while reading Priory, or even If We Were Villains. It was excellent and fun and adventurous, but was it profound in the sense of capturing an emotion and making the reader feel anything other than excited? No, not really. Not for me anyway. And for that, not a 5-star read. Though it's definitely worth reading. This was a difficult book to get my hands on, and it's flying off the shelves right now for good reason. Everyone I know has read or is currently reading it, and I have to say, I get it. Okay, let's get into some smut. A few videos ago, I reviewed Ice Planet Barbarians and announced my next smutty review would be on the Priest series by Sierra Simone. I've since completed that series and will be doing a review, as promised, but wait, there's more. I'll also be doing a review on this series because, oh boy, did I have fun this one. The Salacious Players Club by Sarah Kate. I read all of them. All the ones that are out, at least. There are 5 out now, 4 of which I read in June. The last one I finished in the beginning of July. And I'm sad to say the next one doesn't come out until October, so happy birthday to me. But honestly, I should really take a break from smut. It's getting a bit out of hand. The Salacious Players Club is a series of smutty romance novels that revolves around a sex club. A kinky sex club where all the characters have the opportunity to explore their own kinks and preferences in a judgment-free and welcoming environment, and us, as readers, live vicariously through these characters, which was very fun. The first book, and my personal favorite of the series so far, Praise, fantastic title, by the way, was basically another rendition of Your Dad Will Do. Every single one of these novels has an age gap, an element of taboo where the love interest relationships are concerned, and a wealthy power dynamic. These are books to be read for fun. They're not meant to be analyzed or dissected. They're meant purely for pleasure, literally. And they deliver. 4 stars for the series as a whole so far. If you're into smut and you don't mind a little kink in your pages, this series is for you. Go forth, have fun. Drink water, stay hydrated, you'll need it. Now for the disappointments. Always have time for disappointments. Allie Hazelwood. Dear old Allie, my fellow woman of science, why? Why do you keep doing this? Why did you do this? I'm sorry. This was terrible. When Love Hypothesis came out, I liked it. I did. I was wrong, but I still enjoyed it. When I read the copy-paste Love on the Brain, it was clearly not as good as Love Hypothesis, but it was on par with what I expected. But this, I hate to say it, but I hated this book. This Love Theoretically was far worse than her previous 2 titles, to the point where I'm not sure she even wrote some of it. If you're not familiar, all of Miss Hazelwood's novels take place in a STEM setting, telling the stories of women in STEM. I am a woman in STEM. One might say I am the unique demographic. And I gotta say, I've found reviewing these books conflicting, because I want to support her. I want to raise her up and admire her for taking the 2 things she loves and making her dreams come true. I am proud of her for that because we share the same aspirations, but I just don't think her books are well written. The characters are dry, the dialogue is poor, the motive is nonsensical, the story itself is lacking, the tropes are not utilized to their potential, and the smut is just bad. But back to Love Theoretically, which revolves around the academic rivalry between theoretical and experimental physics. I took notes while reading. Because oh my god, I'm totally such a nerd. My first note being, it references Twilight on page 4. And that's not where it ends. She references Twilight so much, I felt like I was reading a teenager's journal from the 2010s. Another note read, page 7, I'm just an average girl who looks average. Okay, Bella, I make myself laugh. Also, spoilers, by the way, I think. The whole misunderstanding that happens between the main character and the love interest was so unbelievably unbelievable. If you're a physicist, your entire life revolves around physics, and someone starts explaining what they do for a living by saying phys, your instinct isn't, oh, physical education, PE. No, it would be, did someone just say physics? Do better. My notes on the sex scene was all caps, ew. First of all, Twilight is on the whole time. I'm telling you, this is a 2009 fever dream. I think this was one of the worst sex scenes I've ever read, and I've read an unhealthy amount of smut. He has no stamina and leaves her hanging at first. She literally says, but it was good anyway. What? They have no consideration for post-hygiene, making me think she definitely went home with an infection. And I was waiting for the line. You know the line? I was waiting for the copy-pasted line she used in the first 2 books, but it didn't come, and neither did I. However, instead of asking, can I fuck you? He says, I want to fuck you. Please let me fuck you. No, I'm sorry, but no. I don't know what it is, because sometimes if someone else says it like, can I fuck you? I get it. It doesn't do it in this one. It's not the same. This doesn't make me giggle. And she asks at one point, is it all in? Just, no. It's not in. It's not all in. It was never in. You missed completely. Also, my biggest gripe with this book, even after all that venting, you don't have to try so hard to be funny. You don't need everything to come in packs of threes as the butt of a joke. It's not creative, it's not original, it's below basic, and it's annoying. With almost every interaction between the characters, the dialogue is exactly the same in using examples of threes as the butt of a so-called joke. I can't recall her doing this in the first two novels, but it was so annoyingly overused in this one. It was making me physically angry, as you can tell. I didn't like this book, and I gave it way more time in this video than I intended, so I'm sorry for that. 1 star, maybe 2 stars, because I'm still so conflicted. Just keep writing, Miss Hazelwood. I don't think you should stop writing. I will keep reading your books. I don't hate you. I want to support you. I just really genuinely want you to do better. Also, just one last note. Don't use the word sack. It's not sexy. Finally, next, The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And yet another disappointment of hoping the next book is better. I don't think I'm gonna keep reading this series. I think I'm done here. The repetitive nature of these novels makes me feel like I'm reading the first draft of a novel that was plotted in 45 minutes. That is harsh, I know. This is my least favorite part of doing these videos. I almost just don't want to talk about the books I disliked because I don't want to spread negativity where books are concerned, but I must show the bad with the good. So, I don't like these books. One of the major pitfalls of the sequel was its lackluster plot. The narrative felt forced and contrived with an over-reliance on convenient coincidences and predictable twists. The character development was also lacking, inching forward rather than taking the strides the first book accomplished. See, the first book made me want to read the second, but the sequel made me want to stop altogether. The previously engaging and multifaceted characters became one-dimensional and predictable, losing the complexity that made them interesting in the first place. Relationships between characters felt shallow and underdeveloped, and the one character that curses without cursing, I just found her really annoying. I hate that. You either curse or you don't. You're either going for the YA or not. Like, just either say what you want to say or don't. Don't think of, oh, fudge. Like, it's not funny. It was only funny in The Happy Place. The Good Place? The show, The Good Place. Because, you know, she's in heaven, so she can't curse. That was funny. And they only did it like twice, so it was fine. This left me feeling indifferent towards the fate of the characters. So, 2 stars. The disappointment continues with Twisted Love by Anna Huang. Another series I will not be continuing. Here's the thing about dark romance. You need to sell it, believably, for the reader to truly immerse themselves in this fantasy. If it's not sold properly, I'm not gonna buy it. Twisted Love was an attempt to delve into the complexities of a forbidden romance, falling flat with a predictable plot and one-dimensional characters. Though I will say the female MC does have some growth in overcoming her fears, which I did enjoy reading, but the romance part did not deliver. The 2 characters were not believable as a match. Their relationship didn't make me feel those excited sparks a romance is supposed to entice. The spicy scenes were fun, I'll give you that. They were rough and dirty and enjoyable, but that was about it. 2.5 stars. All right, finally, we ended the month on a high note with His and Hers by Alice Feeney. I'm never disappointed when it comes to Miss Feeney. And even though I'm familiar with her twisty writing style, I can never guess her endings, and I love it. This was an absolute page-turner. Feeney is masterful at building suspense with complex characters and gradually unfolding a compelling story through clues, breadcrumbs scattered throughout the pages, and it's so fun. The narrative alternates between the perspectives of Anna, a news presenter, and Jack, a detective, as they find themselves entangled in a murder investigation in their small town. Feeney skillfully weaves together their perspectives, with an excerpt here and there from the murderer themselves. As with all Feeney novels, you can expect a web of secrets, deceits, and unexpected connections. The characters are multidimensional and deeply flawed, yet relatable. Their motives and fears are explored as they clearly strive for their desires. The pacing is balanced perfectly with moments of heart-pounding action, juxtaposed with quieter, introspective scenes that look into the characters' psyches. Feeney's writing style is so immersive, creating an atmosphere of constant unease. I just love the way she makes me feel uncomfortable. I recommend this psychological thriller to those who also enjoy being uncomfortable. Also, the ending. I love Feeney's endings. The revelations are never what's expected, and you're left staring at a wall wondering, what the f did I just read? And, you know, I just love that. 4 stars. Whew, okay. That was a long list to go through, but we love to see it. Thank you so much for sticking around if you're still watching. Be sure to click that like button if you like this video and subscribe. for more. Today's shout out goes to Tane IG and Give Me Pizza Bro 8621 comments on one of my old reviews of Alice Feeney's Sometimes I Lie. To Tane IG, that is all to be expected with Feeney. Don't you just love getting slapped? And to Give Me Pizza Bro, should I be explaining endings? As I commented on that comment, I've gotten spoiler complaints and I hate spoilers. I hate ruining the reading experience for people, so I think it's safe to say I'm not an ending explained type of channel, and I hope you find the video you're looking for, but I hope you stick around for all of our other shenanigans. So, alright, I'm off to go try and read anything but smut for a while. Just hold off. I've been overdoing it and I just need a break. My mind needs a cold shower. Okay. Stay lost. Keep reading.